Let's continue our project. In the part 1, we have started by making a rigid body system where we added a bunch of cubes stacked on each other and knocked them down using a stick, which was so fun to play with. And that was just when we picked our hero cube. Then we continued by modeling and rigging the claw, and finally we assembled all the parts inside the hero cube. In this video, we are going to animate the different parts of the hero cube. So without any further ado, let's get this going. And let's start animating. So let's move forward in time until every cube has fallen down and there is a calm frame when the attention will be focused mainly on the hero cube. So somewhere around here seems nice. And the first thing that is going to be animated is the hatch. So select it, then go to the object panel and make a keyframe for the X rotation. Move forward a little bit, here seems to be fine. And using the X rotation, open the hatch. Something like this will do. Make another keyframe. Now if we play, we have an animation like this, which is not that realistic, since the claw is supposed to burst out of the cube. And in that case, the hatch is supposed to be slammed open, not opening so smoothly like this. So to fix that, in the timeline, press A to select all its keyframes, and let me show you in real time. So open a new window here and switch it into graph editor. Enable normalize to have a better look, and we can press N to close the side menu. So here is our graph, and as you can see, for the time being its interpolation is set on Bezier. So select all the keyframes, and you can do it both in the graph editor and also in the timeline. Press T, and from the interpolation menus set them on bounce, and you can see what happened to our graph. Now if we play, we have a much more natural animation. And we are going to get an interesting result, because we can also make it even a little better. So select the first keyframe, and if you don't have the side menu open in the graph editor, press N to open it. Make sure the first keyframe is selected, and here set the easing property on ease out. Then select the second keyframe, make sure the interpolation type is set on Bezier, and the right handle type, which is this one, either set on auto clamped or aligned, which is already set on auto clamped. We can also choose aligned. So this is the animation of hatch. I really like that. And one thing for sure, select the second keyframe, and for the right handle type, if the frame here doesn't match to what it is in the timeline, try to match them. So for me it is 291. We get a slightly better result. So the hatch is done. The next one in the row is the extensive part. So select the array object offset, move to somewhere around here. Yeah, this could work. And make a keyframe for the Z location. Then again move forward. And something here, don't forget to make keyframes on the frames that actually matches the animation of the other objects. Don't worry, you can always tweak them. Press G, Z and move the empty up. And keep in mind that you should move it up on its local x-axis. And to make our lives easier, set the transformation orientation on local. You see, if we move it up on the global z-axis, this happens. So make sure to notice that. So this is fine, and make another keyframe. And this is the basic animation. We need to have a slow down animation at the end and a fast one at the beginning. So in the graph editor, select the first keyframe, press S, X and 0. This is better now. We can also grab the left handle of the second keyframe, press G, X and move it to the left a little bit, so that we can enhance the effect even more. Now let's take a look. You see, this is much better now. I really like the animation part because when they are coming together, it seems really interesting. Now let's go to the claw base. So select it and move to a frame when the hatch is like this. Yeah, this is fine. And make a keyframe for the Z location. Again, keep that in mind that you should move it up on its local z-axis. Move forward a little bit to the frame when the extensive part is totally open. Press G then Z and move the base up and put it exactly on top of the extensive part. Let me switch into wireframe to take a better look. We can go even higher. Yeah, this is fine. And make another keyframe for the Z location. Let's take a look. And obviously we need to tweak the keyframes of the base to match the animation of the extensive part. So select the first keyframe and give it the same remedy, SX0, and let me turn on the screencast. Then select the left handle of the second keyframe. Move to somewhere around here. Yeah, this seems fine. Press G, X, move it to the left until the base is exactly on top of the extensive part. Somewhere around here. Let's take a look. You see, now it is working pretty fine. So this was the base. Now let's animate the bones. So move to somewhere around here. I guess this is fine. Select the armature, press Ctrl Tab to go into pose mode. And there is a point here that I should definitely mention. And if we use the object panel to animate the bones, for the bottom bone it works pretty fine. You see, it is totally okay. But if we select the top bone and animate it, see what happens. And this is just not what we want. The top bone should be freely moving without affecting the bottom bone. And to fix that, you can press N to open the side menu, and in the item here we can use this property. And if we animate that, it works pretty fine. So select the bottom bone, right click on the Z rotation and insert single keyframe. And do the same thing with the top bone. Then let's move forward. Here seems nice. Select the bottom bone and using the Z rotation, open the claw. And make another keyframe for that. And move forward again. Don't make any changes and make another keyframe. You just need to keep the bone in the same situation for a few frames. Move ahead a little more and close the claw somewhat half the way when it was open. And make the last keyframe for the bottom bone. Now select the top bone, rotate it until it grabs the stick nicely in place. And obviously this stick is not long enough, so go back into object mode, select the stick, press S, X, and scale it up on the global X axis. And by the way, you can of course change the Z location and the scale of it to fit the claw. So let's first close the claw to see what we have. Guess something like this would definitely work. Make a keyframe for that, then we can go into object mode, select the stick, go into top view, and I guess in the object panel we should scale down the X and Y. Yeah, that's fine. Then let's move it down a little bit to somewhere around here. And something here, select the base, go into top view, and we can of course rotate it on its local Z axis to have a better result. So let's take a look at what we have. See, it is really fine. And for the icing on the cake, select the top bone and select both its keyframes. The keyframes, don't select the handles. Then set the pivot point on individual centers. Press S to sharpen the curve. You can still do it more. See, now this is much better. Looking great. Now in order to move the hero cube alongside the stick, the way that it seems like the stick is dragging the cube along itself, we need to add another element to which the hero cube will be parented. So go into object mode, select the hero cube, shift S, cursor to selected. Then shift A, in the empty, let's add a cube. Right click, adjust empty display size. Press F2 and rename it to controller. Then it will be much better and easier for us if the controller has the same rotation as the hero cube. And we can simply use the copy attribute add-on, but anyway we can select the hero cube. In the object panel, click on the X rotation, press Ctrl C to copy. Then select the controller, click on the X rotation, press Ctrl V to paste. And do the exact same thing for the other axes. There it goes. Now press G, Z and move the controller on its local Z axis and place it here. Then, as I have mentioned before, select the hero cube, shift select the controller, press Ctrl P, object keep transform. Now if you move the controller, it controls the entire setup. Now to animate the controller, we need to move the frame when the clock grabs the stick. I guess somewhere around here, yeah. And in the object panel, make a keyframe for the X location. And this time move forward a lot. Then using the X location, move the controller. I guess this is fine. Make another keyframe. Again move forward somewhere around here, and again move the controller. Make another keyframe. Now if we press play, the animation ends before the timeline ends, so we can use the same remedy for it as we did for the stick, but with a little bit of difference. Select the two last keyframes, press Shift E, and from the Set F-Curve Extrapolation menu, set them on linear extrapolation. You see what happens now. Now if you play, we have a pretty weird results. That's because when we set these two keyframes on linear extrapolation, they also affected the first one. So to remedy this one, select the first keyframe, press S, Y and 0. There it goes. Now it works pretty fine. Looking good. However, since we have a fast moving stick which drags the cube with itself, we should actually find a way to show that sudden drag at the beginning. And we can take advantage of the rotation properties. So go to the frame where you have made the first keyframe for the X location, which is this one. And then make a keyframe for the Y rotation, because we are going to get a rotation like this. And also make a keyframe for the X rotation, because we also can get some rotation like so, which is going to make our animation much better. Then move forward, I guess here is fine, and tweak the Y-axis to get a look like this. And make sure that there won't happen some intersections. And make another keyframe. Move forward once more. Fine, now rotate it on the Y-axis the opposite side to get something like this. Make another keyframe. Now we can also tweak the X rotation as well. So let me take a look. Oh, something really funny, something really interesting happened here. These stack of cubes are exactly in the way of this hero cube. So we can use the X rotation to actually make the hero cube dodge these stacks. And this will be really interesting. I really like that. Make a keyframe for it. And now we can go to, let me see, the last frame, yeah. And tweak the Y-axis like so. Make another keyframe for that like so, so that it keeps its swinging movement. And let me give the X rotation a tweak as well. So let's move it to the other side and make a keyframe for that. Looking good. However, since these keyframes are set on Bezier, we have them better if they continue even after the timeline ends. So move forward to somewhere around here. Could be fine, but we can always tweak it. And adjust the Y rotation and make the final keyframe. Let's take a look now. Go back and play. I really like this. And yeah, we have a pretty nice animation. Oh, look at this dodge. Just look at when it dodges this stack of cubes. You see? Oh, that was really close. I really like that. And by the way, we can go to the first keyframe of the controller, and here we have the X location and Y rotation. Select the X location and we want to have an animation like this. Let me explain. We want the cube, the hero cube, to first rotate on the Y axis in this area, and then it starts to move. So we can select the right handle of the first keyframe of the X location. Press G, X and move it forward a little bit, not that much. Yeah, this is much better now. Now we have a pretty natural animation. Just take a look at this. Really interesting. Yeah, I really could buy that. So that's it. Now let's finish our scene by making a lighting system. Close the graph editor and we can go to the first frame. Then go to the render panel, set the render engine on cycles and device and GPU compute. We are going to use cycles. Select the ground plane and let's make it wider, SX. Then with it selected, go to the edit mode and select this edge. Let me go to the side view, press E and move it to somewhere around here to have a shape like this. Then select this edge, GY, and move it a little forward. Then since we have a pretty sharp edge here, select it, press Ctrl B, give it a bevel, scroll forward to increase the segment, and this much is fine. Right click to shade auto smooth. So this is our backdrop. F2 and rename it to backdrop. Then for the lighting, we are going to make some emissive planes and take advantage of them. So Shift A, in the mesh, add a plane. Move it to somewhere around here and then move it up. Scale it up. Then rotate it so that it will be pointed towards the backdrop. And move it like so. Now switch into rendered view to have a better look. Go to the material panel and make a material for it and rename it to Emissive. Then open surface and obviously choose emission. Let's increase the strength and I guess 12 could be fine, but obviously we need more planes. So give it the array modifier. For the count, let's go for 4 and then slightly increase the factor X to make some space between them. However, the world itself is affecting our lighting system. So to fix that, head over to the world panel and crank down the strength all the way to 0. This is much better now. Then select the backdrop and make a new material for that. In the surface, let's go for diffuse. We could of course decrease the strength and set it on 0. Doesn't make a big change anyway. Then select one of the cubes. Make a material for that, and for that we can decrease the roughness to have it a little reflective. And here is the tricky part. Select all of the cubes and make sure not to select the other objects. And also select the hero cube. Then hold down the shift key and click on the cube that you made the material for to make it the active object. Press Ctrl L and link material. Now all these cubes has the material of this cube. There it goes, better now. Then move forward in the timeline where we can make material for the claw. So select the extensive part, make a material for it, rename it to metallic. And obviously give it a metallic look, decrease the roughness. Yeah, this seems pretty fine. Select the claws, both 1 and 2, shift select the extensive part, Ctrl L, link material. And I just came up with a pretty brilliant idea. So we can select the fully one, shift D to make a duplicate. Right click to release them to where they were. Go to the modifiers panel and in the generate, give it the wireframe. And obviously we need to decrease the thickness. So let's decrease that. I guess this is fine now. Then with it selected, open a new window here and switch it into shader editor. Make a new material for that. What should we call it? Let's go for metallic 2. So crank up the metallic to 1, decrease the roughness, and here is a trick. Give it a color like this. I'm not pretty sure if it works or not, but anyway it could be funny. Yeah, this could be pretty interesting. And we can also select the fully itself and give it a glass material maybe. Doesn't seem that bad. So let's go with it. Now we can select the fully 2 and do the same thing. Shift D, the wireframe. Shift select the wireframe 1, Ctrl L, link material. Select the fully 2. Shift select the fully 1, Ctrl L, link material. Yeah, this could be funny. Then select the base and shift select the claw, Ctrl L, link material. Let's select the base and here make its material a unique one so that it won't affect the others. We can decrease the roughness for that, to have some variations. Now press Shift A to add a camera. Somewhere around here looks nice. Press Ctrl Alt and 0 to lock the camera here. Press N to open the side menu in the view. Enable camera to view. Now you can control the camera using the mouse cursor, which is pretty handy. Somewhere around here, let's decrease the camera focal length 30 maybe. In the viewport display, set the passport out on 1. Select the hero cube and go to object panel and set the display as to solid. Now we can disable camera to view and zoom in to have a bigger look. Let me make a new window here and switch it into 3D viewport. And something for sure, I absolutely forgot that. These emissive planes will be visible in the final render. So select them and go to the object panel, open visibility, and just turn off camera so that they won't be visible in the camera, but we have their lights. And another thing, if we zoom in, we can see that this part, because the extensive part is metallic and on this side there is nothing and it's black, it actually turns so much black. So we can select the backdrop, press Shift D to make it duplicate, or Z180, move it back or even rotate it to get different reflections. So this is totally up to you. And one important tip, take a look at our animation. It is a little slow. To make it better, we can go to the output panel and set the frame rate on 30 FPS. Now if we take a look, it will be a little faster. Yeah, this is much better. I really like this dodge. So this was the tutorial and I hope you liked it. So see you next time.